as President Trump reverses himself on the issue of families being separated at the border. Donations to a San Antonio immigrant legal aid group reach millions of dollars. While many children have been separated from their parents, some immigrant families housed in the San Antonio area have long been allowed to stay together. And with history stacked against them, a new football team heads to Alamo City. I'm Chance Dorland with your Express Briefing for Thursday, June 21st. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. And get each day's top news and sports headlines delivered to your inbox at expressnews.com/newsletters. President Trump has reversed himself on the issue of families being separated at the border. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani has more.
Like many Americans, the president says he did not like the sight or feeling of kids being taken from their families after crossing the border illegally, and he signed an executive order stopping the practice.
We're keeping families together.
Bowing to pressure after days of falsely insisting only Congress could end the separations. Public outcry had been growing, with Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand saying the government was literally sending babies into detention camps.
It's immoral.
The president insists his zero-tolerance policy of prosecuting all adults caught illegally crossing the border remains, and the order aims to keep families together while they're in custody.
Even with the president's reversal from California to Texas, Colorado to Tennessee, and even north to Canada, people continue reacting to authorities separating immigrants from their children by opening their wallets online to donate millions of dollars to a San Antonio-based legal defense group. Spearheaded by a California couple whose initial goal was a modest $1,500. In less than a week, a Facebook fundraiser has raised nearly $15 million for San Antonio nonprofit Races, Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services, to run a shelter and provide legal aid to immigrants and refugees. As donations poured in over the past week, Trump administration officials have been sending babies and other young children to tender-age shelters in South Texas. AP correspondent Ben Thomas has more.
The 3 tender-age shelters are located in the Rio Grande Valley. Lawyers and medical providers who have visited describe playrooms of crying preschool-aged children in crisis. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner says he's opposed to the Trump administration's policy.
Especially when the plan is to put children in a former warehouse and homeless shelter on the edge of downtown Houston. Children from the age of 0 to 17.
Turner says the administration is ripping apart immigrant families, and he has not given his blessing to those plans to locate a 4th shelter in Houston.
At some point in time, we have to say to those who are asking us to provide these type of services that this is wrong.
Robert Lopez of the Texas Civil Rights Project says once families become separated, the government doesn't make it easy for immigrant parents to find their children.
Tracking the children has been very difficult. There's not as much transparency with the federal government right now. We do try our best to go with the Office of Refugee Resettlement and reach out to them to understand where some of our petitioners' children are. But even then, if we are able to reach out and confirm that they are in a foster center, they will not tell us where. In some cases, they will just sort of have the children labeled as canceled, so we won't even know if they've been released, are they returned to family, or where are they.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz recently spoke out against family separations and says Congress should be able to come up with an immigration and border control bill that's acceptable to both Republicans and Democrats.
The right solution, I believe, is keep families together, but do so in a way that respects rule of law by processing these claims quickly and keeping the individuals in detention in a temporary shelter during the expedited proceedings. And if they meet the legal standards for asylum, they're granted asylum. If they don't meet the legal standards, then they're returned promptly to their home country.
While authorities have now separated approximately 2,400 children from their families, forgotten in the furor over the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy are 2 large South Texas detention centers that, in apparent contradiction to that policy, have continued to hold immigrant women and their children together. Of those 2 locations, the South Texas Family Residential Center, which opened 74 miles southwest of San Antonio in December of 2014, serves as the largest immigrant detention center in the country. With a combined capacity of more than 3,000 beds, the South Texas Family Residential Center and a second detention center 66 miles south of San Antonio comprise the only large family detention centers in the U.S. Both facilities are run by private prison companies and reportedly are unable to hold children longer than 20 days. And ignoring Alamo City's long history of failed pro football franchises, the fledgling Alliance of American Football says San Antonio is the league's 8th and final member. An announcement that will be made official today at a noon City Hall news conference featuring Mayor Ron Nierenberg and league officials, including introductions of the team's head coach and general manager. The league's inaugural 10-week season begins just a week after the 2019 Super Bowl, with play starting February 9th and continuing through April. The San Antonio team will play its home games at the city-owned Alamo Dome. And that's your daily San Antonio Express News briefing for Thursday, June 21st. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. I'm Chance Dorland.